Now straight in there somewhere. There they are. There's the lions. So how good a call was that? So it was good to just sit and stand by and wait, and there comes the Nkuhuma Pride, and the cat streak at Djuma continues. So sitting at Sydney's Dam, just waiting, being patient, was worth it in the end, and they are slowly but surely just emerging from behind the dam wall. I just saw some movement there, and that's why I was saying to Senzo, just hold on, let's go back and have a little look. And they are coming straight to where the buffalo are. Now the buffalo are north of the road, given, so we might not see much of what goes on, but the lions are heading towards us, and at least we're going to get a view of them as they go and drink. But I don't know if it is the Nkuhuma Pride or not. It's difficult to say. At the moment, it's just 4 at the moment, so I don't know where the 5th one could be. There's some of the cubs coming at the back as well. So hopefully the rest will come. And you can see they're staring off, and if they've got the scent of buffalo, and in weather like this, those buffalo are in big trouble. We know the Nkuhuma Pride really does target buffalo, and they like to go after them, and if they've now picked up the scent and heard the oxpeckers, they know that somewhere here is food, and they're not going to stop. You can see they're skinny, they need a meal, and so we're going to have a situation where these guys are definitely going to go after them, and I would say that it's worthwhile just sticking with them. But how cool is that? That the Nkuhuma Pride just popped out of nowhere, and it's maybe why these buffalo are so on edge. Maybe they bumped into these lions already and they just don't know where the lions are, and that's why they keep U-turning and changing direction. But at least we've got some cats, which is wonderful news. So I'm super excited that we've managed to find them, and hopefully we're going to end up with a situation where they're going to come towards us. I don't know if they will. They certainly are looking in the direction of the buffalo, but the buffalo have gone too far north. If the buffalo was still standing here and the Nkuhuma Pride had come maybe 10 minutes earlier, they would have spotted those buffalo, and I think we would have seen a situation where they wouldn't have been drinking, but they would have been coming and trying to hunt and trying to come towards these buffalo. But let's see what happens. At least there's some females that are quite alert. You can see the female in front looking around, and it does look like the Nkuhuma Pride, just given that there is, as far as I can see, 5 adult lions, and then there looks like the 6 cubs are all joining as well. So no sign of the little cubs yet, but there is the rest of them at least. So really good to see. I'm super happy. I don't see the female with the wound on her side though, but all the lionesses that came down the hill look to be walking quite fine, so that's also good news. Riti, they'll go as much as about 2 weeks without food. That would be really the most that they would be able to deal with, and the most that they would be able to starve for. But at the end of the day, it also depends on what meal they've had. If they haven't eaten, if they've only eaten an impala between all of these guys, 2 weeks won't be long enough. They'll also still be extremely hungry in sort of 7 days' time. So it just depends what meal they're coming off as to how long they'll last without any food whatsoever. But these guys should be fine. Now I do need to call this in. Stations I've located, the Nkuhuma Pride at Sydney's Dam. They've just come over the dam wall, if anyone's interested. So, just had to let everybody know quickly. Mike, they're at Sydney's Dam. They've all just come over the dam wall. So, it's the Nkuhuma Pride. So there we go, at least they can control the lineups now. Sorry, just had to quickly chat to the guys on the radio. At the end of the day, they also are around, and you know, we need to let them know. And there was some guys that were here with us, and so it is good that we just let everybody else know what's happening. So you can see they're slowly but surely all starting to lie down and starting to rest. There's some of them that have already had something to drink, and the rest will start to kind of just settle down, and hopefully they'll get onto the tracks of these buffalo and start coming southwards a little bit and head towards them. For now, you can see everybody's just looking around and checking what's happening. The best thing for us would be if the buffalo came back out into this clearing and started to move in this general vicinity. So that's what we're going to have to hope for. But how cool is that to see? What a surprise to see them all coming out of the gloominess. Now, of course, if it gets any darker than what it is now, we probably won't see too much of them. Unfortunately, they're very far away at the moment, and so the view of them is not going to be very easy at all. Even with our infrared lights, we're going to struggle a little bit, but at least the lions are around, and it's a glimpse nonetheless. And with the buffalo around, there will be a buffalo that will bellow. It will make a noise at some point, and that's all they're going to hope for. And from there, I would imagine we're going to see them onto it, and
walking in those directions to go and hunt them. They are very skinny at the moment, so I'm pretty sure a buffalo is what they are after. Hopefully they, like I say, kill it on our side, because it will make life a lot easier for us. Otherwise they're going to be a few days away again, and they've spent so much time to the north lately that it would be nice for them just to come south and spend a bit more time on Djuma over the next little bit. But everyone's settling down. Porter Cam, you're asking what is the biggest pride that I've ever seen. Well, the biggest pride I've ever seen is the mountain pride up in the Lubombo Mountains, so straight east from here, basically, well, a little bit northeast. And that pride at that stage was 42 lions, so that was a very, very large pride of lions together. They didn't actually spend too much time together in the end, because just that many miles to feed was very, very difficult, and so everyone had to kind of break apart, and they were going through things like zebra and giraffe pretty much every night. They would have to feed off something like that, otherwise they were battling to sort of sustain themselves, and because of that, they then split and formed, smaller pride units. But basically it was about 42 lions altogether, which was pretty insane to see. So that was the biggest out of any of the prides that I've seen in this area. Here in the Sabi Sands, the biggest pride I've seen was the Southern Pride, which was 23 when I saw them. So 23 lions is the biggest Sabi Sand pride that I've had, and it was quite an amazing pride to see it. And that was without the males. It was just 23, just females and cubs and sub-adults and all the rest together. So not too many of those kind of prides left, unfortunately. Most of the prides we've got here are all fairly small, and the reason for that is because we've had a lot of males come into the area and a lot of changeover in the male lion structure, and that means that a number of cubs and sub-adults have been killed as well as females, and so most of the prides have actually decreased in number rather than increased. And so it's really good to see the Nkuhuma Pride like this with the cubs, and the cubs getting of age now where they're almost sub-adults and slowly but surely rebuilding. The other good thing about the Nkuhumas is that most of those cubs are females, as we know. So we know that 5 of the 6 are females, which means that the pride will go from 5 adult lionesses to 10 adult lionesses, which is going to be wonderful. But they're all just taking it easy. They're still very alert. None of them are fast asleep, but they are slowly but surely waking up, well, starting to kind of get up and move. You can see that female. Yes, I can see the female one in front. She's starting to stand up and look around, so I wonder if there isn't a situation that something's coming to drink, because you see that female, she's come into a complete stalk mode, so she's flattened her head right down and is facing something. What it is, I'm not quite sure. The buffalo didn't go in that direction, so it's not buffalo. The rest of them are all watching that female in stalk position. The cubs are up, so they are not providing a great foil for her. But let's see, she's definitely gone into a very different posture than what she was earlier. You can see that is flat, and sleeping, or almost watching as to what's going on and hoping that something is coming her way. The problem is the rest of them that are all standing up. So the cubs need to look around and need to try and see what this female is doing, but she is watching something for sure. She's in a proper stalk mode. That's not a sleeping mode that she's in. You can see her eyes are open. Unfortunately, it really is getting very dark, so it's difficult for us to see what it is. I can't see anything else around, but maybe there is something still lurking. Hopefully it'll be a buffalo bull that just fell off the back end and is somewhere in that thicket that she's busy watching. But what we're going to do quickly is just try and see if we can't go into infrared. If we have a look in infrared, it might just help us a little bit, because obviously it's getting very dark, and the infrared will just help bring a little bit more light into what's going on. So they stand out a little bit better in that infrared. There we go, that's better. Now the infrared light itself won't reach that far. No matter what we do, it's not going to even get anywhere near that area. And I can promise you now, the light is so bad that I can't even see these lions anymore. It's really difficult to make them out. So I'm hoping that they will move. You can see, look, she's popped her head up a little bit and is watching. So I wonder what's going on. There must be something around. Maybe she spotted something like a nyala or a kudu or something like that that's just moving around close to the camp area, but the cubs are completely oblivious. You see in the background the cubs are not watching at all, and even the females haven't seemed to really gotten too interested in what's going on. So I don't quite know what it is at this stage, but there is definitely something that's piquing her interest and allowing her to be quite sort of focused on what's going on. The rest of them are kind of, you can see the rest of the females are fairly relaxed. None of them have put their head down, even though they're watching this female. None of them have gone head down and are looking and are in the same kind of stalk posture as what she is. But she's definitely seen something. What it is, I don't know. Like I say, the rest of them seem to not have noticed at all. Hopefully there will be one that will come out, or something will come out of there, and we'll be able to at least see what is actually going on in that particular section. But it might be better just to reposition ourselves as well. I'm just hesitant because of our signal, but if we go to where they're facing, there's a gap that goes through, then it's much closer than what we are now, so it might be better for us to be able to see them and to see what's going on. Right, while we try and figure out what's going on, let's go back to Ali, who I believe is on the buffalo cut line, and maybe she'll pick up the buffalo that side, a bit of a better idea of where they've moved. But in the meantime, we're going to reposition and let's see where Ali's going to head. Well, the lions are just busy milling around. There's some impalas you can see is what they were watching earlier. So a couple impalas that are busy looking in that area. And that's why the lions were so focused and so intent on steering in this direction. Of course, the impalas have seen those lions. You can see how alert they are. The lions are not exactly hiding themselves in any way. And so it's not a situation where the impalas can't see them, that's for sure. Their lions are completely spread out, easily visible. And that's why everybody is just in a state of hiatus at the moment. But quite cool to see these little heads popping out of a bush and the lions watching in the distance. Now, like I said, they are so far at the moment that even in the IR with the light on, we're going to battle a little bit with light. So I do apologize about it being a little on the grainy side, but rather grainy lines than no lines at the end of the day. And we can still see some of them. I'll try and put on a little bit of full light just for sort of the purpose of that. No, it doesn't actually even bother. It's not really worth it, so at least we can still see some of them. Portakam, most certainly these lions would, if they can get hold of 3-4 buffalo, they would take them down. Generally, because it's quite difficult and it's not an easy process, it's normally that they only bring down one. But I have seen prides bring down multiple kills at once. In fact, the Birmingham boys one time had 7 different buffalo at once. So we found the Birmingham boys, each one, at that stage there were 5 of them, each one with their own buffalo meal, and then 2 carcasses just lying there uneaten. So they will go after multiple targets if they can, and they certainly will kill as many as possible, even in one hunt. And obviously you will find sometimes them hunting at separate times and bringing down 2 different animals. There goes the impalas. You can hear them snorting and running off, but they will bring down multiple animals at different times. But in the same hunt, it is possible to see more than 1 or 2. There they go. It looks like they might be coming towards us. Hopefully that will be nice if they do. No, just lying down again, unfortunately. So there they are, right in the distance. Nikki, you say if only a B-boy would come out behind them. Well, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. The B-boys are all south, so 3 of them are in Mala Mala and 1 of them is on Torchwood. So the chances of a B-boy popping out is very, very slim. If a male lion popped out now, all hell would be breaking loose, because it would mean that it was an intruder male and those cubs or sub-adults would be in huge danger. But look, she's striding slowly southward, so this is really good news for us, because it means that this lioness is coming down towards the boundary and hopefully straight towards us. Now, whether or not they're going to spend a lot of time here, I'm not quite sure. We're right on this northwestern corner, and it could very well mean that they cut over towards Simbambili, but hopefully they are going to file in straight towards us, and we're going to get a really nice view of the entire pride coming this direction. I'm also very keen to see the lioness with the wound, but when the lions were coming down the bank, it was still light enough for me to see what was going on, and I didn't see one lioness limping, struggling, or moving in any way with sort of any discomfort. She seemed to be walking just fine, and so I have a funny feeling she's just okay. It's just going to be a gaping wound for a while, and she is going to be alright. Remember, the whole pride is looking quite skinny. It's not just one female that is skinny with the wound. Every single one of them looks as though they could do with a better meal. So hopefully that's going to be coming their way shortly, and we are going to end up with a situation where our lions will feed a lot better and find some sort of food item. Now I've just put on my headlights a little bit just to try and fill the light in for the infrared, just to help it out and try and give it a little bit of extra light. The impalas have run off, so we don't have to worry too much about putting a floodlight on, that they can at least see the cubs a lot better. There we go, you can see them all lying around there. So eyes are glowing in the dark, as beady eyes do when there's a bit of light on them, and so they're going to hopefully move this way. One lioness is moving in this general direction. She is hopefully going to come down, and what I'm going to imagine is going to happen is they're going to get exactly where those buffalo walked, pick up that scent of those buffalo, and they're going to trail those buffalo. The problem is the buffalo went the wrong way. Had the buffalo been inside Djuma, I think we would have been in for an interesting evening, and almost certainly would have found a buffalo kill tomorrow. I'm 100% convinced that these lions are going to get some sort of beefy buffalo over the course of this evening. The conditions are absolutely perfect for lions to hunt buffalo. It is dark, it is cold, it is rainy. It is the best conditions possible when lions want to hunt. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens during the course of the evening. We can see another lioness is now up and moving straight towards us. You'll see her coming from the left side there. There she comes. So it looks like she's also on her way this way, which is great news. So slowly but surely the lionesses are moving southwards and moving towards our area, which is exactly what we've been wanting. We want them to start coming in this direction and start heading towards the boundary where we can actually view them properly and not at such a long distance. At the moment it is very far away. It looks as though she might lie down though. She's kind of got that lying down amble. There we go. Proud Cat Mama, you're asking when the lionesses go to hunt, where will they leave the cubs? Well, these sub-adults will be following the pride all the time now. They're not going to be left anywhere. They're now old enough to follow and to learn and to see what goes on, because ultimately they have to watch the females to learn how to hunt buffalo and various other animals. So they will be continuing with the pride, but the smallest little cubs will be left in an area where it is very, very quiet, where it is thick, dense bush, where they can hide very well and stay out of the way of things like lion and hyenas and leopards and all the other predators that could be a threat to small cubs. So they leave them in a drainage section or a termite mound or something like that, and then they'll go and find them once they're done with the hunt, or if they're either successful, they'll go get them and suckle them if they're still very young. If they're old enough to go to the carcass, go and fetch them and bring them there. But at this age, these cubs are mobile with the pride all the time. They don't leave the pride at all. Even when they're hunting, they'll just stand back a little bit and watch the adult females do the job, but they won't actually leave the area and leave the cubs behind anywhere. The cubs will follow as they go along. Right, now I'm going to sit with these lions. They are slowly but surely, some of them coming our direction, and hopefully they'll continue to move southwards. And so while we sit and wait for their arrival towards our section, let's go back to Ali, who's got her spotlight out and is almost at Buffelshoek Dam. They are indeed slowly but surely moving through the long grass, heading straight in our direction. So we've repositioned. We're sitting right where the buffalo first came across to our area, and the lions are coming straight towards us. And it's quite an eerie thing with those eyes glowing in the long grass as they move towards this area. Now, of course, I can't sit exactly where they're going to cross. The way that they're walking, they're probably going to cross a little bit towards the west of me, but there's no reception where that is. So I'm having to stay where I am now and just hope that they move straight towards us and kind of come in our general direction, and that this vehicle in front stops blinding us with the light, because the vehicle in front keeps blinding us and shining their light directly at us. But they're trotting off into this drainage section, so I don't know if they've spotted something in that general area. So maybe there's something there that they were busy running from. You can see slowly but surely they're piling across and moving in to the thicket. But it is very dark at the moment, and so it is perfect hunting conditions. Since I think maybe let's go to the left, they should pop out somewhere here. I can just see the eyes in my spotlight moving slowly through this thicket, and they're then going to cross over onto Djuma just to the left here. There's the road right there, so maybe let's just quickly turn the car so that we're on the road itself. Here they come running, the little cubs. They're trying to keep up with the moms as they go. So we're going to try and just position ourselves that I can see them. There we go. That should be a bit better, Senzo. In that they should come out right here in front. Now I'm hoping that we're not going to lose signal. There we go. So they should come up the road towards us, and there are the lions coming over. So 1, 2, you can see they are in need of a meal at the moment, but that's 2 lionesses, and here comes the third one, and a cub is going to come bounding across the road. There goes a little cub, jogging as she goes. Third lioness, another little cub jogging. And the rest of them are still coming. I can see lots of eyes heading in my direction, so the rest are on their way, and they're going to get the buffalo scent in the next few seconds, because the buffalo scent is going to be right where these guys are, and then I think the hunt is going to be on, and they're going to actively be following that scent into that area. Now, the rest of them are about, I would say, 30 seconds from emerging, some of them, onto the road. So we're just going to have to be a bit patient and wait for the rest to come. I can see them kind of moving through the grass in the background. There we go, there's another lioness. That's the one with the big wound. You can see she is working absolutely fine. There is a little bit of a kind of gingerness, but other than that, it's really not bad. Considering the size of the wound, she's done very well to be able to sustain herself, and that's not a bad limp by any stretch of the imagination. I saw a video the other day where somebody was saying that they're limping very badly and that she's looking as though she's going to die, and it's all very depressive and very bad. But as you can see from that, she's walking just fine. She's not limping like everybody thinks she is. She's actually okay. Right, now I'm going to have to try and turn. Is there still one more coming, Senzo? I think all of them have gone over, to be honest. Maybe there's 1 or 2 more, but let's try and just turn ourselves around, because the thing with the rain covers is that I can't actually see on my side. So I'm trying to kind of turn in ways that I can see them. Here they're going to come across straight in front of us. Senzo, hold on. Is there anybody behind me there? Okay, we've got to make sure that we don't have people behind us as we go, because ultimately we don't want to crash into anybody. So they should come through this gap. I can see them just moving on my right hand side, and they are coming towards this gap over here. This is where the buffalo went straight over. We're right on the buffalo tracks at the moment, so this is where they all crossed, and the lions themselves are just moving slightly over this way. Unfortunately, this area has really bad reception, and so we're going to have a situation where we're going to have to just sit and try and figure things out and move slowly, and it's going to be intermittent glimpses of these guys as they go. So we're just waiting for a vehicle to go past so that they can go, and then they will put on our lights again. Hopefully the rest, there they are. I can see them. They are slowly but surely coming in this general direction, so hopefully they're going to pop out now. Macy, you're wondering if a lioness can take down a buffalo on her own, or if it requires the use of the whole pride. Well, in some circumstances, yes. Last year in the drought, when the buffalo were very weak, we were finding that the lionesses were able to take down buffalo on their own. But generally, it will require, now at this time of the year, especially when we've had a little bit of rain and the buffalo have fed a lot better than last year, you're going to find a situation that most of the lionesses will be needed to wrestle with those big buffalo bulls. If it's buffalo calves or young females or young males, then you'll find the lions will be able to do it by themselves. But when it's a big bull, they're going to have a situation where they're going to have to. There they come. So they are coming out right now. Look, you see, noses down. They're sniffing those buffalo for sure. They've picked up the scent now, and they know, okay, buffalo are here. We're going to now follow them. So that's the first female that's come through. The rest of them are going to start piling around pretty shortly, and I'm going to imagine that they're going to follow that scent exactly the way that it was with the buffalo. Look, you can see they're walking exactly where we first had the buffalo. That was the first view we got of those buffalo, was in that thicket. And these lions know for sure that there is meat around, and there's a tasty buffalo morsel waiting for them around one of these corners. And it's just such a pity the buffalo didn't push further south into Djuma, because we would have definitely heard the sounds of lions hunting later in the evening. But at this stage, I think they're going to probably push back north again. I would ideally like to move so we can get a better view of the Nkuhumas, but I don't know if we're going to have a chance to. I think we might lose reception, and it's right at the end of the show, but they're all angling off a little bit now, so I'm going to just risk it. I do apologize if we lose a little bit of reception. Please bear with me. It will come back. It's just that I want to try and see. Well, you can see they're slowly but surely coming out now, and they really are noses to the ground, sniffing these buffalo out and just checking, and they following the scent of where the females walked. So the bull buffalo came towards where I am, the females walked where those lionesses are now, and you can see they kind of worked out, hang on a second, these things have turned around and the whole pride is now changing direction again and heading straight towards us. You see there's a female coming back again, so she's picking up, hang on, these things have turned, and look at how the noses are down as they calculate and work out exactly where these buffalo have gone, and they are almost step for step following them. Unfortunately though, it is that time of the day where we will unfortunately have to leave them. Also, they're going to cross back over into Buffelshoek in the next minute or so as they follow these buffalo back to the north. But it's been an absolutely wonderful day. I think we've had an incredible drive given the weather. We've had the most amazing things, the lions, Ali with her eagles, so it's been an absolutely wonderful afternoon. So from Ali and myself and Senzo and